So today's video is going to be about breastfeeding. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about breastfeeding. It's going to be about my breastfeeding journey and just about breastfeeding in general. I wanted to make a video that is... This isn't going to happen. Haven? Hey. Haven. No. 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 No, ma'am. Come here. No. No. Haven.
Oh.
I know you see yourself. No. Haven. Come here. Hey, I'm not mad at you, baby. I'm gonna answer some questions and just talk about the benefits of breastfeeding and all that good stuff. So first, let's start out. I have all my notes on here. I shouldn't have gave her the loudest toy over there. Well, first off, I do want to say, I believe, and this is me, doesn't have to be for everybody, I believe that breast is best. It is. Breast milk is, I will talk about some of the benefits of it in a second, but it is best. But whatever works for you and your baby works for you and your baby, and if that's formula, that's formula. If it's breast milk, that's breast milk. Some people can't breastfeed, and that's totally okay. Don't mom shame yourself, and don't mom shame others for choosing to do what they want to do or what they think is best. However you choose to feed your baby, you do you, boo-boo. You do you. Okay, so the benefits of breastfeeding. First off, the bond with your baby, just the connection that you have when you breastfeed is different than if you didn't breastfeed. That makes sense? The benefits of breast milk, and I don't have to look down at my phone for this because I don't remember all these things. It decreases your baby's risk for infections, asthma, vomiting and diarrhea illnesses, wheezing and pneumonia, getting type 1 or type 2 diabetes, and SIDS. Ow! It decreases the mother's risk. I might have to breastfeed her right now. It decreases the mother's risk of developing type 2 diabetes, pre-menopausal breast cancer, and ovarian cancer. The last benefit is you will save money. That just comes down to you don't have to buy formula. I guess I can go ahead and talk about answer everyone's questions about breastfeeding. How often? Why are you so whiny? Why are you so whiny? How often should I breastfeed? How will I know if baby is getting enough? How often should you breastfeed? It depends on the age. So whenever you're in the hospital, they lose a little bit of weight most of the time. So they're supposed to eat every 2 hours until they reach their birth weight. So you have to wake them up. And it's not 2 hours from the end of the feed. It's 2 hours, these stupid flies. It's 2 hours from the start of the feed. So if they feed for 45 minutes, I mean, you have an hour and 15 minutes after they're done before you have to wake them up and feed them again. And then they say feed on demand, which basically means when the baby's hungry, which there are hunger cues that I'll talk about. When they're hungry, you feed them. And that's pretty much it. As they get older, they can go a little bit longer. Haven roughly eats about every 3 to 4 hours Random times it'll be 5 hours, and then she does pretty good during the night. She nurses throughout the night, but it varies. Sometimes it's 1 time, sometimes it's 4 times. So it just depends. She usually nurses right back to sleep. How will I know if my baby's getting enough? As long as they're having X amount of wet diapers and poopy diapers, then your baby is getting enough and you shouldn't be concerned. And as long as they're steadily gaining weight and they're not losing weight. What does a correct latch look like? So basically, I'll try and insert a picture right here. Their lips need to be flared out. Whenever you latch them, you aim your nipple at the roof of their mouth, because that's how they get the suction. And people that I've told me, they were like, if they have a correct latch, it doesn't hurt. Now it doesn't, but even whenever I had lactation consultants, they were telling me, your latch looks correct, whatever, and it still was painful. But it might have been because she might have nursed 1 time with not a good latch. Oh, I will say lastly, on the latch, they want you to have a deep latch. So basically, they want most of your areola, as much as it can fit in their mouth. That's how you know you have a good latch. Okay. I'm answering these to the best of my ability. So, okay. How do I prevent sore nipples? Like I just said, make sure they have a correct latch. And the other thing that I did, I use lanolin. There's a lot of different nipple creams. I use lanolin. And also, after you nurse, squeeze some of your breast milk out and just rub it on your nipple and then let it air dry. Don't put shirts or tight bras or anything whenever your nipples are wet, because that causes them to get sore. Next, what is colostrum? Colostrum is the thick, goldish looking, yellowish looking milk that you get right like the first few days. Because your milk, which is the second question, does milk come in? So, you have colostrum the first few days. Ow! These flies are biting me. And then your milk comes in, and then it'll be like white, and but you don't have much colostrum at all. And I think that's why so many women think that they're not making enough. But you have to realize how small the baby's stomach is. They don't need but like the size of a blueberry or something. It's very, very small, so they don't need much. So there's not a lot of colostrum, but that's the really, really good stuff. That's the stuff that has all the antibodies and everything in it. When does your milk come in? Mine, honestly, everyone's like, oh, when your milk comes in, you'll be so engorged and it'll be so painful. Honestly, I didn't even know when my milk came in until one day I think I started leaking, or it started just squirting out, which usually happens a lot in the first couple weeks. So I don't really know. I think it's like on day 3, day 4, around that area. But I didn't really know. Like, I didn't have any painful experiences when mine came in. Breastfeeding positions. You have the football hold, which is, they're like this on your boob. Which that's what me and Haven did for a while, because my boobs are so big. And she was so tiny, it was hard for her to latch, except like that. I will say with that latch, it is hard to breastfeed in public, because you have to have something that the baby is resting on, like a pillow or something. And if not, you're having to hold them with your arm, and your arm gets super tired. Cradle hold. Put that one there. The cradle hold. The crossover hold. Laid back position. Side lying position. Forgot about that one. Can I continue to breastfeed if my breasts hurt or if I have a cold or flu? Yes, yes, and yes, all of the above. Are there foods I should avoid eating while breastfeeding? And what about alcohol or caffeine? Okay, so foods that you should avoid, it differs per mother. There is nothing that I can't eat necessarily. It just depends on you, and you can tell when you eat something how your baby reacts to it. Some people, like my sister, she couldn't eat tomatoes and like pasta stuff. Like pizza, she couldn't have pasta sauce because pasta and tomatoes and stuff upset my nephew's stomach. So she couldn't have that. So it just depends. Some moms can't have Mexican food, like really spicy food. I was able to eat, hello, my foot. I was able to eat anything, or I still am able to eat anything. About alcohol and caffeine, if you can drive, you can nurse. So, yes, you can drink. If you're drunk and you can't drive, then I wouldn't nurse your baby. I would just pump and dump. But if you can drive, then you can nurse your baby. So having a drink or two is not going to hurt the baby. Caffeine. Like I said, I feel like caffeine is something also that affects babies differently. Different babies differently. I have coffee for sure once a day. And then sometimes I rarely drink sodas anymore since I've started trying to eat better. But I would drink a soda in the afternoon and she was fine. But yes, you can drink caffeine in moderation. I mean, I wouldn't drink 12 Cokes a day, but okay. Are there any medications that I should stop taking? Yes, I'm sure there are. There's a lot of medications that you can't take while breastfeeding. Some of them can pass through breast milk to the baby, and some decrease mom's milk supply. So you have to be careful. Just talk to your doctor or your OBGYN about medications that you're taking, and they can answer those questions for you, because I'm not a doctor. Can you recommend a lactation consultant and support programs for new mothers? I don't. The only lactation consultant I know is Renee London. She's in the Palestine area. She's a good lactation consultant. I had amazing lactation consultants at Mother Francis in Tyler. Amazing. They were awesome. I don't think I had one that I didn't like. Support groups, the only ones that I know are on Facebook, and those are Milky Mamas, Dairy Queens, and I have a few others like Exclusively Breastfed Mommies. You can just type in breastfeeding in Facebook, and there's a lot of breastfeeding support groups that you can follow, and those are really awesome because you get advice from women that are also breastfeeding. Haven, how did you get on the other side of her? Oh, also, if you have any questions at all, kellymom.com is a really, really good resource to go to. There she goes. Hey, Annalise. I've heard that I can't get pregnant while breastfeeding. Is that true? No, that's not true. It is harder to get pregnant while you're breastfeeding because your body kind of still thinks you're pregnant with all the hormones and stuff. But you can definitely still get pregnant. So definitely, if you're not wanting to get pregnant, use some form of birth control. And you have to be careful with birth control because some you can't take while breastfeeding because it'll decrease your milk supply. When should I introduce a bottle? We introduced a bottle. It really depends. I feel like them being able to bottle feed is essential just because sometimes you want a break, and maybe one feeding during the night, your husband can warm up a bottle of breast milk and give it to her, or whenever you and hubby want to go for a date night, they know how to take a bottle, so it's easier. It's just really difficult and inconvenient when they don't know how to take a bottle. We introduced it, I think she was 2 weeks old, and she did not have any problem breastfeeding, nothing. So I feel like once you kind of get the hang of breastfeeding, maybe a week or two, try and introduce it just once, maybe once a week. That's what me and David started out. We were doing it once a week because we'd go on date nights because I was on maternity leave. So she would have a bottle once a week when we would go on our dates. And then so when I went back to work at 3 months, she took a bottle no problem, and she hasn't had any issues. Okay, breast pump. I have the LV pump. It is the best pump ever. I'm planning on doing a video review on that pump. It just has not happened yet. But I've been using this since I went back to work in November. No, I went back in November. Ever since I went back in November, and it has been amazing. The LV is a wireless pump, and you control it with your phone, and you put them in your bra. So it's really, really convenient, especially at work when I don't have time to take a break or anything. Just pop them in, and they're good to go. Okay. Next, if you have any questions on that pump, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below, or just DM me on Instagram or wherever, and I'll answer your question. Not everybody responds to a breast pump. So just because you pump and you don't get anything out, it does not mean that your milk supply is going down or you're not making enough. How much you pump does not is not an indicator of your milk supply and how, good or bad your milk supply is. My hair. How often should I pump when I go back to work? This just depends. Basically, you want to pump what your baby's eating. So if your baby is eating every 3 hours, you want to pump every 3 hours. Or as much as you can. Some jobs you can't, and you can only pump 2 times. You just have to do what you can, what your work allows, and what your baby eats. So with my baby, when I went back to work, she was eating every 3 hours, so that's what I pumped. And I was able to do that with my job. Now I only pump twice a day. And then when she turns a year old, I'll quit pumping altogether. What is mastitis and how do I prevent it? So mastitis starts out as a clogged milk duct, and that is, you basically get those from not relieving your breasts, either not relieving them enough, so like missing a feeding, or if your breast pump or your baby doesn't empty you out completely, your milk ducts can get clogged, and that is what causes mastitis if that clogged duct doesn't get released and it gets infected. And then mastitis is really, really serious. It's an infection, and your body, it's like you get like flu symptoms. You get a fever. It can be very, very painful, and it can be very serious. So you definitely don't want to get mastitis. And how do I prevent it? So don't miss feedings. Make sure your baby's emptying your breasts, and you'll know when they're emptying your breasts because your breasts won't be full. Like, you'll be able to tell. They'll be soft. Okay, length of feedings. Alternating breasts. So length of feedings, usually when they're first born, their length of their feedings can range from like 45 minutes to an hour. Haven's most of the time we're in between 30 45 minutes. And then, but now she maybe nurses 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe. Sometimes 10 when she just wants a little snack. Alternating breasts. You definitely want to alternate breasts, but what they tell you to do is empty one breast and then offer, once they're done, like I would feed her on my left boob, and then when she was done, I'd burp her. This is when she was little. I would burp her, and then I would offer her my right breast. If she didn't want it, then that was fine, but if she wanted it, I would go ahead and give it to her. If she didn't want that, I mean, obviously you'll be able to tell the next time she goes to feed which one didn't get emptied, because it'll be harder and fuller. So you'll want to start feeding them with that one just so it gets emptied, so you don't get a clogged duct. Can I make too much breast milk? Yes, you can. They don't recommend you pumping for the first 6 weeks because it can cause an oversupply, and an oversupply is just as big of a problem as an undersupply. So that's why they tell you don't pump for the first 6 weeks. Now, if you're going back to work at 6 weeks postpartum, then you're going to have to. But if you don't have to pump, don't pump for the first 6 weeks, because that's what kind of causes an oversupply. The way I got, but if you want to have like a little freezer stash before 6 weeks, like before you can start pumping, use the Haka, and it catches your letdown on one boob while you feed on the other. And that's how I made a little freezer stash without pumping. And they recommend starting to pump like, I think it's 2 weeks before you go back to work, which I didn't even have to do that because I had my Haka and I got a freezer stash just on that. So I didn't even pump until I had to go back to work. Okay, but yes, that can cause overproducing can cause a lot of problems. It's an increased risk for mastitis and clogged ducts and stuff because you have so much milk. It's difficult for the baby to latch on when you're so full, and sometimes when you're let down, when you have a lot of milk and your letdown is really strong, it makes the babies choke on it, and it's difficult. It might give them reflux and stuff like that. So that can be a problem too, not just having an undersupply. When to introduce a pacifier? We were told not to introduce a pacifier for like the first week or so, but when we were in the hospital, Haven was jaundiced, so she had to be put under the light, and I was not going to sit there and listen to her scream in that light. So we gave her a pacifier in the hospital, and she never had any problems with breastfeeding at all. She took a pacifier good, she took a bottle good, and she took my breast good, and she never had any problems. So I feel like you want to introduce it You don't have to introduce it in the hospital. You can introduce it whenever, but I definitely wouldn't wait a super long time because you don't want them to just refuse it. Which, I mean, some moms don't even want to give them a pacifier, and that's fine. Because that's one less thing you don't have to get them off of whenever. Like right now, that's one less thing you have to get them off of, like when they're older. But right now, Haven's not even taking a pacifier. She loved her passy until 7 months, and she has refused it. Will not take it. You can. Give me kiss. Give me kiss. Will you tell me that? So yeah, she's not even taking the pacifier right now, and she's doing just fine. So, things to mention. These are unrelated to each other. They're just things that I remember that I wanted to let y'all know before I quit this video. You want to latch your baby when you have her in the first 2 hours. Baby will sleep. Second thing. Baby will sleep a lot in the hospital. So a lot of times, like, Haven wouldn't even wake up to eat. So literally I would have to hand express colostrum out of my breast to keep my milk supply. So basically, in order to keep your milk supply up, drink a lot of water, but you have to, the more you feed and the more baby latches, it's a supply and demand. The more baby latches, the more baby feeds, the more you make. It stimulates your breast to make more milk. So when you're in the hospital and baby is sleeping and they won't wake up to eat, you have to do hand expression, which is basically squeezing the colostrum out of your breast so your body will stimulate and make more milk, and your milk will come in. But if you don't, then your body's not going to make milk because you're not doing anything and you're not stimulating the breast. Alrighty, y'all, that is it for this video. I've been so excited to make this video because breastfeeding is something that I'm very passionate about. But I do want to say one more thing before I quit this video. If you're an expecting mom, or you're thinking about getting pregnant, or you just found out you're pregnant, I do really want to encourage y'all, just do your research on breastfeeding, and I hope this video gives y'all some information that y'all didn't know. But I really encourage y'all. Breastfeeding is the best decision I ever made. And one thing I will say, if you're a new mom right now and you're thinking about giving up breastfeeding, don't. Wait 1 more month. After 1 more month, if you still don't want to breastfeed, okay, quit. Do whatever is good for you and your baby, but give it 1 more month. That's what my sister told me, because I'm telling you, I struggled with it a lot. And I had some baby blues that was pretty bad, and I wanted to quit. And my sister said, okay, 1 more month. Go 1 more month, and if you still don't want to breastfeed, then you can quit. But 1 more month, and I absolutely loved it. I'm so thankful that I had my sister on my rear and my mom on my rear telling me to not give up, because breast milk is what is best for my baby. If y'all have any questions about breastfeeding, please don't hesitate to message me on Instagram. If you have my number, you can text me or comment down below. Breastfeeding is hard, but it is so rewarding, and I promise you, you will not regret breastfeeding. I don't think I know anybody that breastfed and was like, dang, I really regret this. Like, I shouldn't have done this. You just have to get through the first 2 months, which sounds like a long time, but with the right support and friends and family, you can do it, and it's what's best for your baby. If you're able to breastfeed, it's what's best for your baby. So do it for your baby. Do it for you. Thank you so much for watching. She's pulling my hair. Subscribe to our channel, turn on our notifications so you don't miss a video, and give this video a big thumbs up. And we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.